life is a roller coaster. These relationships are predestined. Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything wrong that brought you into it. Mm-hmm. Likely there were synchronicities that guided you to that person. So please don't question, what did I get wrong? What did I miss? How did I not see it? You needed to dance that dance. It couldn't have been another way. Mm-hmm. It couldn't have been another way. Because your soul needed the version of you who you became through the relationship, but also the version of you that you became through the end of that relationship. Because certain lessons you only learn through the end of the relationship. I would say often the biggest ones.
Yeah, you better. Cause you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, what should have it? Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Yeah, you better. Take the time to recognize it. And believe me, even if you tried it. You're the artist, and the mess, and happily become the new in your hands.
Sahara Rose is a best-selling author, spiritual teacher, Ayurvedic expert, and the host of the #1 spirituality podcast on iTunes, The Highest Self Podcast. Known for bridging ancient wisdom with modern embodiment, Sahara has helped millions connect with their soul's purpose through tools like Dharma, discovery, divine feminine activation, and embodiment practices. She's been called a leading voice in the millennial spiritual movement by Deepak Chopra, and she's here to help you remember who you truly are. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Today, I have a very special guest. Oh my gosh, the goddess herself, Sahara Rose. I have been looking forward to this interview for so long, Sahara, because honestly, I have been watching you and just absorbing your beautiful frequency and information that you put out for such a long time. It's just such an honor to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Likewise, as soon as you reached out, I could feel a fellow kindred sisterhood. We were definitely in the mystery schools and ancient Egypt and Mu together in past lives. So I'm honored to be reconnected with you in this lifetime.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And Sahara, when I reached out to you, I was going through a thing and, I just saw you were traveling all over the world. I think you were in Egypt or something when I reached out, and I was like, oh my God, she's just so graceful. And it was almost like I was seeing you, but it was like I was, seeing another fellow sister in such a powerful place, absorbing that frequency, the energy of Egypt. So how did you feel there? Was that your first time there, or had you been there before?
So it's crazy because 2.5 years ago, I was woken up in my sleep to my then husband, who confessed to me after his first ever San Pedro ceremony that he had been cheating on me throughout our almost 8-year relationship. And we had a trip to Egypt booked that was supposed to happen 4 days after that. Oh so God. First, I was going to go to Bali. I was going to go to Bali before him. He was going to meet me there. And for some reason, my intuition was telling me, don't go to Bali. It was the day of my flight, and it said, don't go to Bali. And the airline, it was Emirates Airline, and they said, you can use these credits, but you have to use one of our destinations. So I was like going through their destinations, and I was like, I don't know where, for some reason, I felt like I needed to travel with him. I was looking at the destinations and I thought, Egypt. At that time, 2.5 years ago, I felt like, I don't know, am I ready to go to Egypt? I haven't done enough studying about Egyptian mythology. I feel like it's like a place you got to really prepare yourself to go. But something within me just said, just go, this will be your entry point. And so we decided we would go to Egypt, and I'm Persian. He was Jordanian. So we were both Middle Eastern. And my dad was always very academic and into history. But I've always had a very tough relationship with my dad, very narcissistic, mostly unavailable. And so I invited him to come on that trip to Egypt, and he said yes. And then my brother was in Qatar because it was the World Cup, and he was going to come. So it was going to be my husband, my brother, and my dad and me in the heart of the patriarchy in the Middle East going to Egypt. And 4 days before, everything is booked, these Egypt trips, hotels, flights, this, that. he wakes me up in my sleep and says, I've been cheating on you throughout the relationship, and a bunch of other, dark secrets he had been keeping from me that I had zero idea about, despite at this point have written 4 spiritual books, hosting a High Self podcast. So I say this because I know a lot of people listening may have gone through betrayal, and it makes them really question their intuition. And what I can share is you find out when you're meant to know. And it's never a moment before, and it's never a moment too late. It's when you are ready. So I wasn't sure what to do now. Do I go to Egypt? Do I not? And I decided to just go anyways. And so I packed up my suitcase thinking I'm going to go to Egypt, just in the middle of this crazy ass heartbreak, do this trip and come back and figure out what to do with my stuff and how to get divorced and all of that. And once I got there, it was like a death, a full death. And it's interesting because Egypt is land of the death, but we think of it as a literal death, but it's the deaths within this lifetime. And every single pyramid I went to, tomb I went to, temple I went to, it was a death, a funeral for 10,000 different versions of me. My role as a wife, my identity as a wife, my identity, the children we would have had, our home, the vision for our life, all these things that I had to mourn and cremate and let go of, the dust between my fingers, and let it go back to source. And while I was there, I realized I don't actually need to go back. I'll have an assistant put my things in the storage, and I need to continue traveling, because going to sacred sites activated me in a way that nothing else had. The transmissions you receive from these sacred sites is like frequency shifting.
Yeah.
I never went back to that. I had that one suitcase and I ended up traveling the world for over a year. From there, going to Bali, going to Trinidad, St. Lucia, Sedona, so many different places, and really diving deep into my dark night of the soul, really diving deep into the underworld. And, before that, I was like the joy priestess, lights, like sparkles. And I remember in Egypt being like, that version of me might forever be gone, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I might never wear bright colors again. I might never dance again. And that's fine. And I will surrender to this death and go to the bottom of this hole as long as it takes, because I know if I bypass it right now and I don't feel the full scope, I don't touch the bottom of the barrel of this experience, I will hold on to it for the rest of my life and other lifetimes after. And I am not going to do that. And so I surrendered into the abyss, into the unknown, into, going from knowing my home, my life, kind of the direction of my path, friends, family, to like, at this point, my parents, Middle Eastern, were like, well, what did you do that made him cheat on you? So no relationship with my parents, obviously him, traveling, like I threw myself so deep into the abyss because part of my intuition knew the more I let go of everything that I was not, the more I will truly be able to step into who I am. And I don't know how long this is going to take, but I started to realize the longer I allowed myself to be in that unknown, the more magical my life would become. And all of a sudden I'm experiencing all these synchronicities. And I'm meeting like the right people at the right time that said the right thing, that brought me to places I could have never imagined. And all of a sudden I started becoming a version of myself that I could have never been in that relationship. And I started channeling music and then learning how to produce music myself. And I ended up making an entire album that has millions of streams and like literally creating a new path as an artist and channeling source and my ability to empathize and feel and connect. It was like I had this like unknown layer on over me in the relationship, and that had been stripped away. All these archetypes of the feminine started to come online. My wild woman, my dark feminine, my crone, all these different aspects of myself. Yeah. So flash forward 2.5 years later, I was invited to facilitate on Robert Grant's expedition that he had, and Robert Grant as well. He has these incredible expeditions to Egypt with all his discoveries. And it was exactly 29 months, which we know 29 days in a lunar cycle, 29 months, 29 degrees. So it's a full cycle. And I was back in Egypt. This time, all 14 pieces of myself resurrected by the goddess Isis. I sat in that exact Aset temple in Karnak, and I felt my golden wings expand. And it showed me that this love story has really been about you. It's not about, oh, and now I'm in a better relationship. Oh, and now I met this incredible man. And it's like, look at who you've become.
Mm-hmm.
And now coming back to Egypt, first going there as that was my devotion, my path of being the initiate, of coming broken, open to receive.
Yeah.
And then coming back, rebuilding every little fiber of myself to become, you know, the phoenix rising from the ashes. What alchemy teaches us is the path of coagulation, fire, water, air, earth, fermentation, refinement into the lead becoming gold. And it took 29 months for that process for me. And coming back and going to some of the temples that I didn't, for whatever reason, my soul was not ready to go, such as Dendera, channeling all these rituals, coming back truly as the modern embodiment of the priestess, and it stepped into this new octave of my work, which is karma clearing for the mystic's voice. So yes, Egypt, Kemet, I will always be so grateful.
Oh my God, so many wow, Sahara, that is the most freaking powerful story I've heard in such a long time, because you understand, I deeply understand what you went through, because not only am I going through my own divorce right now, but I have experienced Egypt 7 different times. And so I know the energy there, is different than anywhere on the freaking planet. The minute that you land, right? And people come to Egypt and they think they're going to just automatically download all this crazy information and all this stuff. But no. Egypt is the death. So when you go to this place, everything will be brought to the surface. All of your deepest, darkest, inner workings will be brought to the skin, to your surface, so you can process, feel, and release it. And it's hard. And it's like, if you're not ready for Egypt will suck you up. It will suck you up into this crazy, it's a lot. The energy there is incredible. So for you to go there after what happened is just amazing. It just shows how strong your soul is, because that I couldn't have done that. I'm gonna stay away from Egypt for a while, girl, because just the pain of divorce and betrayal, and then the future, everything, your whole reality just gets ripped away, and you think that it's one way, and then it's not that way anymore. And so you have to completely rebuild yourself from this naked baby state. And it's like, how do I even do this? Sahara, for people that experience that level of betrayal, for you as such a strong soul, you dove into one of the hardest places on the earth to process that. But for someone that, is going through that betrayal, what would you advise them to do to start feeling better so they can start to begin to heal from that?
You must accept that version of you that was in that relationship has also died.
Mm-hmm.
You must accept that version of you no longer is. And yes, there's a mourning to that. A ritual I suggest is to go outside with a friend and have a funeral for yourself. Write your obituary for that version of yourself. How amazing she was, and also maybe naive.
Uh-huh.
Maybe she was living in a fantasy. Maybe she bit her tongue and she didn't speak her full truth. Maybe she didn't trust her intuition fully. Maybe she went with the flow, even though her heart knew something deeper was off. Write that obituary for herself. Thank her and release her, because Source needed that version of her to die for you to become the new blossoming that is meant to unfold. And so you read the obituary to yourself, and then you lie on the earth. You can have a friend put some dirt on you. And you can also put a blanket on yourself and let yourself just be in this death. Surrender to the darkness. Surrender to the abyss. And when we can stop being afraid of that darkness, life is a roller coaster. These relationships are predestined.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do anything wrong that brought you into it.
Mm-hmm.
Likely there were synchronicities that guided you to that person. So please don't question, what did I get wrong? What did I miss? How did I not see it? You needed to dance that dance. It couldn't have been another way.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't have been another way.
Yes.
Because your soul needed the version of you who you became through the relationship, but also the version of you that you became through the end of that relationship. Because certain lessons you only learn through the end of the relationship, I would say often the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Because that's when the veils unlift. When you're in the relationship, it's this drunk, it's an amnesia, you know, it's like coming down from soul to earth. You got to drink the amnesia juice and do the dance. And that's part of it. That's what the Sufi mystics talked about. You are drunk in love, and kind of the rest of the things cloud away. And when the relationship ends, you become so fucking sober.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, how did I not see that? How was I okay with that for so long? Who was that? You don't even really recognize who was there, because that version of you no longer is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to really put a line in the sand. Maybe your style changes, maybe the way that you show up in the world changes, maybe friends change, maybe your home changes. Like that version of me, I mean, to this day, I don't even have a item of belonging. Everything in my storage, I eventually ended up giving away. I was like, I don't even want something that touched that former life, because it is no longer me. Pictures of me, that's no longer me.
Yeah.
And now when I go back and I look at that, I see this almost like, not robotic, but the level of empathy and depth I experienced is like, it wasn't safe for me to feel that much, because had I really felt that much in the relationship, I would have felt what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so there was a version of me that needed to kind of like only be in this certain frequency of feeling. And then when he was gone, all of a sudden I could feel so much more, because it was safe to, because I was allowed to. Whereas in that relationship, I wasn't meant to see certain things, because the relationship very much served other areas of my life, gave me stability, gave me routine that allowed me to focus on my Dharma. Every relationship has its gifts and has its shadows.
Yes.
And when your soul reaches a strong, a sovereign enough place to take the gifts of that relationship and go on, the relationship will need to clear. And I really believe that heartbreak is the initiation path of the priestess, because there is nothing that the feminine reveres more than love. And so when we experience that heartbreak, nothing rocks our world like it, because all of a sudden it actually puts us on the path of the love devotee.
Yeah.
Before that, we kind of take love for granted a bit. We're like, okay, I have the man, focus on these other things in my life. Once that relationship is gone, you start to really understand what love is.
Yeah.
And you start to become the living embodiment of love. You start I know you talk a lot about sacred sexuality. The self-pleasure practice, oh my goddess, I have by far way better orgasms by myself than I ever did in that relationship, because I'm attuned to myself. I know myself in my own body, and there's nothing in my field, no distortions in my field that I have to cloud anything inside of myself. So I would say it is the ultimate awakening journey, the ultimate glow up journey, the ultimate initiation journey. And if you are a priestess, my queen, this is why you chose that path.
Freaking deep. Oh my God. And it's so true. It's just so true. I mean, look, Sahara, like my life, April 10th was like one way in the morning, and then a couple hours later was gone. I'm talking home, career, car, husband, friends, employees, business. I mean, like this. And it was like, God just took my life and stripped it all the way down to the freaking core. And I looked around and I'm like, oh my God, nothing is the same. Nothing is what I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, how does a woman even navigate that? Right? How do you even navigate? And, you know, so many of us, I feel like, because of the energy on the planet right now, I feel like there's so much spiritually going on that people are just being so far tested right now, so far tested, because through this journey of mine, this dark night of the soul, Sahara, I felt like I've literally been getting like punched in the face all over the body, just bow, 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 just every day. There's something else, bow, bow, something else. And it's like, I have to just breathe with it, take it, and put my hands behind my back and just allow things to be what they are and not try to resist the reality that I'm living right now. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like for us, you're so right about embodying love in a deeper way, you know, because as much as I feel the pain of what's happened, I know that on the other side of that pain is the love that I will experience for myself, you know, which is the lesson learned through this. It's like we pour and pour our magic into others, and we pour our magic into others as women, and we lose ourselves within that pouring. And so, you know, through this, it's like I'm getting to know myself. I'm getting to experience love on a whole different level and pain on a whole different level. But I love the pain, even though I don't. I love it, you know? And so for people to just understand that pain is where your power lays, you know, pain is where the power is. So don't be afraid of that, you know, don't run from it and sit in it, you know? I mean, Sahara, I sat with mushrooms a week and a half ago, and that journey in itself it was like almost like my marriage, you know, but in a metaphysical way. It was like a rebirthing of myself, you know. It was incredible. It was incredible. Have you had experiences like that?
Absolutely. So I want to touch on what you said of the pain.
Yeah.
When you, and for anyone listening, you know, when you go through any kind of heartbreak, the pain, it's these waves that come.
Yes.
And I will say over time, they get further away, but deeper. Because all of a sudden you're thinking of things that you didn't have the nervous system regulation, the emotional capacity to feel. And I wrote in one of my songs, Love Story, the waves get further but deeper, but I'd rather dive to the bottom than let this make me weaker. Now I know that certainty is just an illusion, so I'd rather be free in the abyss than caged in my conclusion. And I share this because, yes, those waves get deeper, but pain starts to become your friend. When you stop running from the pain, hiding from the pain, numbing from the pain, distracting from the pain, you can try, pain will win. So when you just surrender and you say, pain, thank you, because you allow me to feel so radiantly alive. There is something so beautiful that happens in that capacity to feel. It's like the most human experience. And your range, your spectrum becomes larger when you do that. So most of us are operating, like most of the world's operating from like radio stations, like 1,000 to like 1,200, you know, it's like 200, you know, I have like 5 main emotions I feel, and that's my range. And then as you go on a conscious journey, the range becomes more and more. When you go through a heartbreak, all of a sudden it's like you can feel 0. You can feel like all the pain and rage and disgust and anger and shadow of the universe. And you can feel 10,000. Like, holy shit, I am so guided. God is speaking to me on a level that I never have before. Were there always this many synchronicities? Was it always this clear? Like, I am God. It becomes so like there's no doubt that God exists. This level of divine trust, this level of divine capital L love, this level of divine true surrender, it's like I would go through the pain 10,000 more times to experience the depths of true bliss, Ananda, that I have experienced from this. And so when you go through that, and eventually, whoever's in this, eventually a day will come that you wake up and you don't want to cry. And eventually a day will come that you spend half of the day you didn't think about him. And eventually a day will come that he didn't even come to mind the whole day. And eventually a day will come that you look back on that version of you in the relationship and you don't even recognize her. And eventually a day will come that you have nothing but gratitude. You know, so a year and a half after he sat with the medicine and confessed to me he was cheating, I got the courage to sit with the medicine of San Pedro in Peru. So I did 1 ceremony of ayahuasca and 2 ceremonies of San Pedro. And I was just like, Spirit, show me everything that is holding me back from true love. I'm ready to see it all. And one thing that it showed me as I was, hiking in the sacred valley was I was seeing myself, I'm going to cry. I was seeing myself overhead. And a voice told me, and now the ceremony is complete. Because a year before meeting him, I wanted to go to Ecuador and actually sit with this shamanic tribe. And they were working with San Pedro. I didn't even know what San Pedro was. Something just drew me and I really wanted to go. But at that time, I didn't have the money to. And so I wasn't able to. And a few months later, actually, I met him. And so it showed me when I said then, I want to sit with the medicine. My medicine journey began. But what my shadows were I needed to learn that marriage is not eternal safety and stability till death do you part. Once you get married, you're good for life, locked and loaded. You don't even need to think about it. And it told me no ceremony could have taught you that. So we needed to take you into the eye of the tiger. You need to experience it firsthand. And so it actually bonded me with him because he was the perfect person to bring up all of the shadows of suppression and, all sorts of male issues, especially in my Middle Eastern culture. And I was also the representation of speaking your truth to him. And so we had each other's perfect lessons that we needed. And that relationship lasted 7.5 years, a full cycle until it was time to take the red pill for both of us.
Yeah.
And, 9 years later, I'm sitting with the medicine in Peru and it says, and now your ceremony is over. Oh my God. And it was so perfect because his soul loved mine so much in a previous lifetime that he said, I'm going to come down to this earth and I'm going to love you like no one you've ever experienced before. And I'm going to hurt you like no one you've ever experienced before, because that is what you needed. And I've learned now that sometimes the most loving thing a person can do for us in this lifetime is to be the villain in our story.
Yes.
Like, how brave to actually come and be the villain in my story, because he played the bad guy. That's a hard role to play. To play, he's the one to carry that thing that he did. And look at who it made me become. He actually has played such a huge role in the uprising of the feminine, because people got to see how that deception shape-shifted me, that his soul signed up to actually be the catalyst of all of that when you really look at the cause and effect of our actions. So I share this because that person and that pain was so divine. It was pre-written. And nothing could have allowed you to become that version of you that you're meant to be. Now, the free will comes in, are you going to take the medicine or not? Are you going to take this fertile soil that you've been given that is so ripe with nutrients and everything that you need to become this version of you? Or are you going to sit and hold on or try to get into another relationship quickly or try to, like I said, we're on a roller coaster in this life. There are things that are predestined. So there's 2 ways. You can either grip onto the side of the roller coaster and clench your shoulders and clench your teeth and, be really scared the entire time. Yeah. You're going to get to the same destination. Or you put your hands up, radio on, party in the USA. Because we're all going to go to the same place anyways. Yes. So that path of acceptance, that path of, my soul wrote this movie, wrote this script, wrote all the characters in it and the plot lines. Like, wow, I had a dramatic ass soul, but here we are. And so I guess the plot just shifted. I guess I'm in the new chapter of the memoir now. Just flow with it. And the more you surrender to it, the more you accept with it, the more it actually just unfolds with ease.
Yeah, it definitely unfolds with ease. Surrender to it. Allow what's happening to happen to you because it's happening for you, not against you. I always try to teach that, like don't be the victim of your story because everything that's happening, even the worst feeling things, is probably the best gift that your soul will get. So appreciate those bad, hard times because you're building who you are in spirit. It's beautiful. It's like the most beautiful thing. And you know what? I feel like that the planet right now is a masculine, energetic planet, right? And I feel like there's so much masculine toxicity that's manifesting not only all over the earth in wars and fighting, but within relationships and just, you know, just the soul unknowing like the power of that balance between divine feminine and masculine. It's just got a little bit off in my opinion. And so, you know, I see you and others being the ones to really usher in that divine feminine back into the planet, on the planet, because I feel like it's just, you know, nurture, peace, love, color, creativity, ease, flow. That's how we should be living, you know, instead of this power. I need to be in power. I need to be in power, you know, and fight so I can have the power and the money and the resources. It's just very backwards to me, you know, it's very backwards. So I feel like a lot of these relationships, toxic bonds, toxic relationships with toxic masculinity, toxic femininity in it are just being like right now, you know, to expose the healing that not only needs to happen within the person, but on the planet, you know? What do you think?
You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. You know, the feminine was suppressed for so long. We had our dark night of the soul. We were at the bottom of the barrel for, you know, 2000 years of patriarchal oppression since these modern Abrahamic religions took over and we let go of the way of the womb. So we've been in it.
Yeah.
And what happens after the fire? The water, the air, the earth, the rising. And so what we're experiencing right now is that opposite of the, you know, trampoline that we're springboarding up, that women are remembering their truth, awakening their voices, speaking with clarity, connecting to their dharmas. And as they rise, these distortions, these different ways, you know, what was marriage traditionally, it was a business deal. It was for safety. And so a lot of women are realizing, and a lot of women are out earning men, first of all. So they're like, so I don't need you for economic resources. I don't need you for anything. I'm also not getting time, attention, love, validation, feeling heard, seen, met, understood. So I'm not getting the emotional component. I'm not even getting the provision component. I'm often losing freedom. I'm often dealing with emotional, like a lot of people are dealing with emotional abuse. It's huge.
Yeah.
And different types of just narcissistic tendencies that are, you know, it's everywhere, but it's more in the masculine. And I've spoken with many men around that. We can have a conversation about why. And so a lot of women are realizing, what am I really gaining from this relationship? And that's why when they leave the relationship, they have these insane glow ups, because you can kind of see how the relationship affected both people by the end of it. And there's often one person that glows up and one person that glows down, you know, and you can kind of see where energy was being siphoned. And, you know, as women, we've just been that's what the feminine does. We give, we love, we care, we provide, we take care, you know. It's interesting because we think of the masculine as provide. I would say most men today are not providing. Really.
No.
They're really not. The women often are the ones really holding together the families, holding together the glue. And so we're calling in a higher level of being met. We're not saying be better than me. We're saying just meet me. And it's not happening. So, but the beautiful thing is right now, a lot of men are experiencing their dark nights of the soul. And while it is painful and challenging, some common themes that I'll speak into is sexual abuse that is happening with our boys is huge. So that leads to a lot of sexual distortions.
Yes.
Pornography and how young boys are when they're exposed to it. The pornography industry and what it puts in very distorted imagery in people's mind, hijacks their consciousness, makes them question their sexuality. That's very big right now. So a lot of men I watch this. Am I gay? What's happening? That. There's the economic factor of, you know, in the 60s, a male's typical income by the time he was 35 could buy a house. That's not the case today in the United States at all. Like, especially in cities like LA, very few people can actually buy a house.
Yeah.
So men don't feel they're at a place to be able to provide even for themselves, let alone for someone else, let alone for a family. So because of that, they don't even try. There's so many men, they don't want to be in a relationship. They don't try to be in relationships. You ask them why. I'm not in the place where I want to be in my career. And it's true, they're not. But then there's all these women like, but I am in the place in my career and my hormones, and I feel ready to be a mother. And where are the men? And this really deep priestess wound that I feel often of like, I've done so much inner work on myself. Where are the men who will meet me here? And like that deep pain that a lot of women are in. But what's happening right now is men are hitting their bottom of the barrel moments. They're, realizing I don't want to be smoking a vape anymore to deal with my emotions. I don't want to be having unconscious casual sex with all these people just to feel something. I don't want to do this. Like, I really want to know who I am. And they're coming into balance with their masculine and feminine, but it comes with looking at the trauma and the pain and the hardship of their lineage. But I'm seeing a lot of men do really brave work. And I feel in a few years, there's going to just be a lot more men who are on the other side. It's just right now, I'm just seeing a lot of us priestesses are being called to be single.
Yeah.
Because we're holding that caliber strongly. So we don't distort our field with, again, just the loneliness is real. Trust me, I get it. It's like, oh my God, I just want to be held. Like, please, someone, anyone. That feeling is what we get to really transmute. Of, you want to be held by God. You want to be ravaged by God. You want to be fucked open by God. What you want is God's love.
Yeah.
So when I wake up in the morning and I feel that like, loneliness, or I want someone, it's like, I imagine God's arms wrapped around me. I imagine the love that God has for me. And when I speak to God, God is like, do you see all that I've done for you? Like, I had you move to Bali. Like, I had you, like, I went to this I was supposed to go to this Lovers and Friends festival last year. It was like all these 2,000 stars. It was canceled the night before. And it was like, shit. Now I'm in Vegas. There's nothing to do. I ended up meeting the guy. He brought me to the table next to Snoop Dogg and T-Pain. I just had the whole thing to myself. Then I ended up, I love Ja Rule and Ashanti and Nelly. And I ended up like with all of them. And God was like, do you think any man could have made that happen for you? No, that was me. And when we realize how divinely protected we are by Sky Daddy, it's like, oh, that's actually what I was looking for this entire time.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so funny. When you say you imagine God's arms around you every morning, Sahara, since April 10th, when my life changed, every single morning, it's God wrapping his light, his arms, his energy around me, protecting me, comforting me, holding me. Oh my God. It's that hug is so much more fulfilling than a physical hug in this 3D dimensional world. So much more fulfilling. Oh my God. And it just brings that peace and tranquility to your day and to your life. It's that energy that has kept me going through this whole process, that alone. So I want to touch on something you said about women and how they're being kind of woken up to stand in their goddess energy, right? So why and how do you think that women can learn, that want to step into this energy? Like, what are the first steps for women to take to really embody themselves again? Because a lot of us are lost, a lot of us are lost.
So I have a step-by-step heartbreak course, and we can create like a $50 off code for your community. And kind of the overall pathway that I see is the death, like making peace with that death.
Yeah.
The next step is, now that version of me is dead, who do I want to become in this next stage of my life? How do I want to spend my days? How do I want to show up? Like, I can literally, it's not about finding another relationship. I feel like we so quickly go there. Oh no, my next relationship is going to be like this, and that. What kind of life do you want to live? What country do you want to live in? Like, what career do you want? Like, you can change everything right now. There is nothing holding you back. And when you start to really dream up that big, you start to become your dream girl and stepping into that dream girl consciousness.
Yeah.
And as you become that dream girl, romanticizing yourself, falling in love with yourself, you start to create this whole new version of yourself. And often it was a version of yourself that you always wanted to be, but you felt like it was too soon.
Mhm.
One day I'm going to move to Portugal. One day I'm going to, become a spiritual healer. One day I'm going to whatever that thing is that you think you're going to do like 10 years from now. The time is now. The time is now.
Yes.
And so you have that opportunity to completely shapeshift into this new version of yourself. And as you start to realize, I love this life so much more, the heartbreak is no longer a break anymore. It's a gratitude, because it only feels heartbroken when it's like, I'm in my same life and now this thing is missing, because now it feels like a net loss.
Yeah.
But when it's, I become a new person, new surroundings, new home, new everything, it's like, why would I want to go back? And the
Right.
more you start to have that again and again and again of, this version of me would have never happened, that version of me, it's like you start to become so separated from that version of you before that there is no desire to go back. So I would say, let yourself be in the death, dream big, who your dream girl is, step into that frequency, take risks. People won't understand you. You are definitely going to lose some friends, but you're going to gain people who meet this new version of you, like Elisabeth, you and I meeting. Our old version of ourselves clearly didn't meet, right? Because what happens often in a relationship is your life becomes very small, right? It's like this thing that we do as women of like, okay, I have my husband, I got my like children, this is my life, this very small thing. And once you experience, the demise of the relationship, it's the opening of all of these new relationships. And you actually start to feel love in all these new ways. Like before with my friends, like I would say, oh, I love my friends for sure. But like the love that I have for my friends now is like my family. Like it's so, I'm like, you guys are my soulmates. And this vulnerability that you experience, because before when you're in a relationship, that person is often who you tell everyone to, but then it becomes your friends and, they see a completely different version of you that's crying, that's confused, that's this. And it actually brings your friendship so much stronger. My best friend and I, we've been living together for a year. We both went through breakups and it's been the most incredible experience ever. And I'm like, damn, like, I guess in one lifetime I said, I want to move to Bali with my soulmate, and it was her, because we have so much fun together. And the way that women support each other and get each other, we're just like, I don't think I will ever meet a man that I can have this much fun with as much as we do together. And I see the new paradigm being that. I see women living together. I see women raising their children together. That was always the way that we were meant to live as a society. This nuclear family model is exactly that. It's nuclear, it's radioactive, it's toxic, it's making people sick. We could never get all of our needs met from one person. And I think even the pressure of that on both sides is what's making a lot of these marriages collapse, because we were meant to live in villages where you had certain friends you wove baskets with and certain friends you danced with and certain, and the men too, you were receiving from different men. Some men were the warriors and some men were the storytellers and some men were the TP builders. And, you were able to receive. And now it's like this, like, oh, you're going to receive from me. It's a sexual relationship. And it's, with these apps, it feels very like, first time, all or nothing, and that's it. And I really feel the reason why the apps aren't working, the reason why modern dating is not working, is because it's not based in truth. It's not based in how are meant to connect. We're meant to connect through time. We're meant to be a web. I believe the new paradigm is likely not going to be one relationship for the rest of our lives, but rather a series of relationships that serve us for that right chapter in our lives. And what a blessing, because why would you want to hold on to it's like, I took my childhood kindergarten best friend. I said, you're my best friend and there can never be another best friend. It's like, we were best friends in kindergarten and I had a better version of a best friend in high school and a better version now. And maybe in 10 years, like, I hope I'm best friends with my best friend forever, but we don't know. And imagine if I met you, Elisabeth, and I was like, Elisabeth, I really like you. And if you like me, I think that we should just be each other's only friends forever. And if you don't want that, then you are a fuck girl. Okay. You're a piece of shit if you don't want that. So are you in or are you out? Because I can only talk to you if you're 100% in, even though you just met me.
Crazy.
That's what we do.
That's so true.
The pressure.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. You know what, Sahara? You're so right. And I've never thought about this because we're so systemized, we're so manipulated into that this is the way it needs to be. And if it's not this way, then you're wrong, or you're doing something evil, or you're just not of God. It's all of these things that try to make us feel bad out of fear. So we are, just stuck within this thing here that's not even real. Because as you were explaining this beautiful community web of relationships, my body's lighting up. I'm like, you know what? This feels right. Because this is how it used to be in ancient times when there was a golden age on the planet. It's like the revere that we had for each other and the respect, and then just the honor that we had for one another. It was like there was no man and woman and child in one home. It was like the entire community would just pour into each other. And then, you know what? Really, I love studying ancient times and how they used to treat new souls, babies that were born, and the honor and respect and rituals that used to go around that in general. Sahara, because I was adopted. So my first heartbreak came the minute that I came into this dimension because I got taken away. I never saw my mom. So, that heartbreak, boom, immediate upon entering in this 3D hit me. And it's like, I just feel like if we were to honor our babies, honor new souls on the planet like we used to back in ancient times, we would not be in these issues that we're in today, because we would have learned and been honored and not had that trauma from immediate birth, which I feel like all of us really experience because we don't have that creation. We don't have that system. It's not normal, It's normal for us to don't hold your baby, put it down, because if you hold your baby too much, they're going to cry when you put it down. That's what we're taught. Craziness. It's crazy. I don't subscribe. I don't subscribe to that. How important do you think it is for new souls on the planet to be honored? I mean, isn't it like the most? I think it's.
Yes. So right now we're experiencing a huge amount of very special souls coming through, like insane gifts this new generation has. They are seeing things that we can't. They are here to come up with solutions for our future world problems that we're not even aware of. They're tapped into different realities. They're shifting even our understanding of feminine and masculine, and because they're actually becoming more whole within themselves. So like, our generation, we're like, oh, I'm a feminine woman and masculine man, and we want the polarity. And yes, this new generation is actually not that anymore, because we're actually becoming the yin and the yang within ourselves. And that's part of evolution, actually. And so I have a lot of hope when I speak to the younger generation, even the Gen Z generation, the people in their 20s right now, the way that they are receiving things. And I see, like, yes, there's definitely more anxiety in the things that come from being in a very like tech heavy world. There's that, and they're human, but the consciousness is so right, because they were exposed to these things way before we were, it was so easy for them. Plus, the way that evolution goes is like, we're pretty much always going to be older souls than our parents. It's just older souls and older souls. And so your child, probably older soul than you probably can feel it, of like, he's your teacher, and it's going to continue to be that way. And so that gives me a lot of hope that I actually think this paradigm of war is dying out. The new paradigm, the new children, they see right through it. They don't resonate with war consciousness. War is a consciousness, and something I really saw in medicine is it starts in our families. It starts when it's like, well, me and your mom think this about you. Oh, me and your brother think this. And like the siding that you do in families, that's war consciousness. Power dynamics in relationship, that's war consciousness. Everything they say online, be the black cat, not the golden retriever. Be the person that cares less. Be the person who can walk away. These are all power games. This is all war consciousness. It's putting strategy, because we're so afraid of being vulnerable. Because being vulnerable means we might be hurt, and we don't know how to deal with the hurt. So again, it's coming back to pain. When you can be friends with your pain, when you can sit with your hurt, and it's just going to make me fucking sexier on the other side. And you're not afraid of it. Then you can love openly. And then you don't need to have all these like ultimatums and figuring out, and like, if it's not forever these are all like systems of control we try to do to prevent us from getting hurt. Guess what? Even if you spend the rest of your life with that person, they're still going to break your heart.
Yeah.
Probably even more.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to escape heartbreak. There is no escaping heartbreak. Heartbreak is the best thing that can ever happen to you. Just make friends with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then let love guide you. There's such an intelligence to love.
Yeah.
It takes you places that nothing else could have. People move to new countries because of love. People create albums because of love. People channel businesses because of love. All these things, they come from love. It's never a mistake. Any time you spent on loving was time well spent. How perfect you got to experience that love. How perfect you got to spend those years in a beautiful relationship. And oh my goddess queens, I'm so excited for all of us. You know, and when you start to taste, like, every person I've dated, it's just been like more and more love, because I am able to receive more and more love.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes you so excited to think, wow, my next relationship, how much I can love that person, because how much I can love myself. Holy shit, it's going to be a level of love that your soul could have never imagined before. You're going to look back on your other relationships and be like, oh, that was cute. That was the most she could love. But this version of me now, holy fucking shit.
That's the perfect. Oh, that was cute. Seriously. When you look back at it, I mean, all of us, if we take a second and we all think about our past relationships, you know, it's like, what was I thinking? Or, yeah, that was cute. Oh, yeah, that was, that was that. And it's like, we always, grow through these things. This is just life. So like you said, make friends with the pain. And what I've realized, to be able to get out of bed every day since April 10th, I have found that my purpose needed to be stronger within me than the pain that I carried. The purpose is what got me out of bed every single day. And how do you find your purpose? Well, you need to know who you are. Not everybody else, not other people's opinions, not your parents of what they think that you should be and become. You need to figure out who you are on soul deep level, and then find your purpose through that. And then that will get you out of the pain to be able to get up and move out here in these streets. Because, let me tell you, it's been hard. But my purpose is just so big, it's just so big. And I love this conversation so much, Sahara. And at the end of my shows, I always ask my community, I let them know who I am interviewing, and I always get some questions from them. So I'm going to ask you a couple from my community. Okay. Taryn says, does gender matter in twin flame union as long as one carries predominantly divine masculine and the other divine feminine?
I mean, based on how people describe twin flames, no, it doesn't matter the gender of your body. It's typically masculine, feminine. To me, I don't even see it as that personally, because I see your twin flame or sacred union partner is going to have both masculine and feminine. So will you. But the ways that they weave together is harmonious. Maybe you have more masculine in certain areas that they have feminine. It's like the perfect match. It's a dance. Yeah. So I don't feel it's like one person's all in their feminine in one ways and one person's all in their masculine in the other ways. I find what we're moving towards is more integration. And the more integrated we are, the more integrated of a person we will attract.
Yes, I love that. Okay. Anahita says, how does the sacred feminine help heal patriarchal wounds, both in women and men?
It begins with the womb. The womb is where we carry the anger towards the abuse, the abandonment, the traumas that the womb has experienced. And it comes there, coming face to face with your righteous anger. From there, and that may take time, punching pillows, screaming in your car, becoming friends with Kalima, the goddess of death and rebirth. From there, it's the transmutation. It's moving from pain to purpose, like you do every morning. It's that now who do I want to become? Using that pain as fertile soil for you to skyrocket into this new version of yourself. And with the feminine, it comes through our gifts of healing, creativity, bringing community together, taking care of our children, food, family, arts, wisdom, channeling, holding space, we are here to bring beauty into this world. We are, every single thing we do is, that's the Venusian path, to find the beauty in every single thing, to turn just the most, the heartbreak into the heartbreak poem, to turn the pain into like this beautiful, like maybe you dance through it and you move it through your body. And that is the feminine path of healing. And the feminine path is also in a spiral. The masculine path is very linear. It's like, okay, I was hurt, I did this thing, and now I'm better. And the feminine is, she's spiraling. So we're going to revisit things throughout our lives in a deeper and deeper and deeper way. So it doesn't mean if you're going back of like, why am I crying again? I thought I was over this. It's like, oh no, there's deeper tears now for me to experience. How can I relish in them? How can I romanticize in them? How can I turn this into a poetry and art? I find art is really why we're here. So when I was in it, I would like record voice memos of myself, and I would just start channeling, and I would start to just channel these poems, and then I would write the poems down. And that was how I started to make music. And so I find it's that when we can create art out of our pain, it's like all of it was worth it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, last question. Sharon says, what is Dharma and how do we discover our own?
Yes. The word Dharma is your soul's purpose, the big reason why you are here. It's your unique place in the universe. So imagine you are a jigsaw puzzle piece, and the universe is this entire tapestry, and you fit a very specific spot that only your soul's frequency can be. And it's not just what you do, but it's how you do it and why you do it. It's your magic sauce, how you show up, how you share things, your essence. So for example, Elisabeth and I, we both have podcasts. We both teach women how to honor their feminine. We're both sharing heartbreak. We have a different soul signature, a different resonance, a different tone, a different dharmic path. So it's not just your career. I think a lot of people just focus on that, but it's the essence of it. And now, how do you discover yours? Well, my book, Discover Your Dharma, is the best place to start. I have a lot of processes. I have a quiz you can take as well called the Dharma Archetype Quiz. So are you the visionary, the teacher, the researcher, the entrepreneur, the nurturer, the entertainer, the activist, the artist? So this will help you understand what your archetype is. And then you can step into the Dharma Blueprint, which is a series of 5 things. Your Dharma archetype, which are these 9 archetypes I just mentioned. Your mediums, what are the mediums that flow through you? Do you like to write? Do you like to speak? Do you like to host parties? Do you like to do math equations? Your superpowers, what comes easily to you? What do people compliment you on? Oh, you have such a way of making me feel seen and heard. That's a superpower. Oh, wow, you host the best dinner parties. That's a superpower. Oh my gosh, you organize things so incredibly. That's a superpower. Wow, you really can listen. Like, I've never met someone who can listen as empathically as you can. It's a superpower. People don't say that to everyone. The next thing is obstacles you have overcome or helped other people overcome. So your own trials and tribulations, or those you've helped maybe a parent with. And the last thing is what you're excited about, because excitement are the breadcrumbs that are guiding us towards our Dharma. So what are you chat GPTing about? What podcast are you listening to? If you could go on a retreat about anything, what would it be? And you write these 5 different categories together on a piece of paper. Put it on your refrigerator, look at it, and let it speak to you. And for some people, it's instant. For some people, it's a matter of hours. And some people, it's a matter of days. It's worked on every single person I've tried this with. And they remember their Dharma. Because it's not a figuring out, it's not a finding, it's a remembering. Your soul already knew. It's just that you forgot. And now it's time to go back and remember.
I love that so much. Oh my God. Yes. Amazing. Amazing, Sahara. You just thank you so much for the light that you spread in the world. I mean, girl, I look up to you and everything that you're doing and just the work that you're doing for these women. I mean, so many people are in pain on the planet and I can feel it. And so, it takes souls like you to really spread light and to heal this pain on this planet. So thank you for your work. Thank you for what you do. Where can people find you?
Well, thank you so much for listening and for holding this incredible space. It's really needed. I feel like people may look at you and I and think we have it all figured out and our lives must have been perfect. And And it takes a lot of vulnerability to share that. And especially for you being not so far after. I remember being 3 months out after mine. That was the first time I podcasted about it. And it's like so ripe and it's so there. And you're just transmuting this so beautifully and elegantly. And I mean, I'm sure inside you're like, I don't know how elegant it is, but the way that you're able to already find the lessons in it so close to it is really beautiful and just such an example for so many women. And I know I'm excited to witness who you become on the other side of this. I can't wait for us to podcast 2 years from now and like, holy crap, you became like rapper. Like I never knew that, like who knows? I'm really excited for you. And for those of you listening, the best place is my podcast, Highest Self Podcast.
Yes. Amazing, Sahara. Thank you so much. Yes, we will schedule that podcast in 2 years because I know I'm going to be doing something completely different.
I'm excited.
I never know I'm be on stage like rapping.
The rap album, it's going down.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tapping in. This was another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Until next time. Peace.
Podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of the producers or affiliates. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the content. Please verify information and seek professional advice when needed. By listening, you agree not to hold us liable for any actions taken based on this content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoy the episodes ahead. Love unlimited, feel unlimited.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I invite you to stay on this journey with me. There is so much more ahead. Courses, mentoring, healing circles, retreats, safe spaces to heal and grow. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and stay connected. We are not alone. In this journey, we're on it together.